This period witnessed the rise of Japan as a formidable power, hungry for resources and determined to assert its dominance. Japan's expansionist ambitions would soon collide with the aspirations of its neighbors, Korea and China. These ancient lands, steeped in rich history and cultural heritage, found themselves caught in the crosshairs of Japan's imperial desires. From annexation and occupation to brutal warfare, East Asia endured a tumultuous journey. Resistance movements emerged, fueled by national identity and a yearning for self-determination. Theirs is a story of courage and sacrifice, of unwavering spirit in the face of oppression. Yet, from the ashes of conflict, a new East Asia arose, marked by economic dynamism and a shifting balance of power. Understanding this complex history is essential to comprehending the dynamics that continue to shape East Asia and the world in the 21st century. Japan's transformation from an isolated feudal society to a modern industrial power in the late 19th century was remarkable. This rapid modernization, known as the Meiji Restoration, laid the groundwork for Japan's imperial ambitions. Fueled by a desire to catch up with Western powers, Japan embarked on a path of military expansionism. Japan's initial foray into continental affairs came with the First Sino-Japanese War of 1894 to 1895. Victory over China, a once dominant power, stunned the world and exposed the Qing dynasty's vulnerabilities. Japan's triumph yielded territorial gains, including Taiwan, and showcased its growing military might. Korea, strategically located between Japan and the Asian mainland, became the focal point of Japan's imperial gaze. Through political maneuvers and military interventions, Japan tightened its grip on the Korean Peninsula. The Russo-Japanese War of 1904 to 1905 solidified Japan's position as a major power. With Russia's influence waning, the path was clear for Japan to consolidate its control over Korea. In 1910, Japan formally annexed Korea, ending the Joseon dynasty's 5 centuries of rule. This annexation marked the beginning of a brutal 35-year period of Japanese colonial rule over Korea. The Japanese colonial administration implemented policies aimed at assimilating Korea into the Japanese Empire and erasing Korean national identity. Korean language and culture were suppressed, replaced with Japanese equivalents. Schools were forced to teach Japanese language and history, while Korean history and literature were banned. Economically, Korea was integrated into the Japanese Empire as a source of cheap labor and raw materials. Land was confiscated from Korean farmers and given to Japanese settlers, leading to widespread displacement and poverty. Resistance to Japanese rule, however, was never fully extinguished. Korean nationalists continued to fight for independence, both at home and abroad. The March 1st movement of 1919, a nationwide peaceful protest against Japanese rule, was a testament to the Korean people's unwavering desire for freedom. Japan's imperial ambitions were not confined to Korea. Seeing an opportunity in China's political instability, Japan began to expand its influence into Manchuria, a resource-rich region in northeastern China. The Mukden Incident of 1931, a staged explosion, provided Japan with a pretext for invasion. The invasion of Manchuria and the subsequent establishment of the puppet state of Manchukuo were met with international condemnation. The League of Nations censured Japan's actions, but Japan responded by withdrawing from the organization in 1933. In 1937, a clash between Japanese and Chinese troops at the Marco Polo Bridge near Beijing escalated into full-blown war. Japanese forces swept through large swaths of eastern China, capturing major cities like Shanghai and Nanjing. The Nanking Massacre, a 6-week period of mass murder and rape perpetrated by the Japanese Imperial Army, stands as one of the most horrific atrocities of the 20th century. The Nanking Massacre remains a deeply painful scar on the historical memory of both China and Japan. Japan's unchecked aggression in East Asia sent shockwaves through the international community. The League of Nations proved ineffective in reining in Japan's imperial ambitions. Western powers, preoccupied with the rise of fascism in Europe, were slow to react to the escalating situation in Asia. The United States, with its growing interests in the Pacific, watched Japan's expansion with increasing alarm. As Japan tightened its grip on Southeast Asia, tensions between the two countries escalated. The U.S. responded with economic sanctions, including an embargo on oil and steel, in an attempt to pressure Japan to halt its aggression. Facing a resource crunch, Japan's militarist government decided to launch a surprise attack on the U.S. Pacific Fleet at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. On December 7, 1941, Japanese carrier-based aircraft struck the American naval base, sinking or damaging numerous battleships and aircraft. The attack on Pearl Harbor stunned the American public and galvanized support for war. The following day, the United States declared war on Japan, officially entering World War II.